Now at 10, we've been busy keeping an eye on cloud cover that's been building throughout the evening. No rain yet, but it's going to pick up overnight with some heavy rain possible as well. We'll start tracking Tuesday's rain chances and first weather coming up.
Plus, a local organization looks to build a new center to help Joplin's homeless population. And a Cherokee County, Kansas man is sentenced for 2 murders in 2020.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The city of Joplin names its new fire chief. This is KOAM News at 10. Gerald Ezell has 33 years of experience in fire service. He's currently serving as the fire chief of Maumelle, Arkansas. Ezell was Joplin's battalion fire chief until 2010. He also served as the fire chief in Diamond, Missouri. Joplin's former chief, Jim Ferguson, retired in June, and Mark Cannon is serving as interim chief. Ezell will take over on February 7th. A local group wants to help the homeless in Joplin by giving them a place to start over. The old botany shop on East 7th Street in Joplin has been vacant for many years. However, Joe Johnson and other members of the community have a vision to turn it into a community center and tiny village for the homeless.
The land and properties deteriorated somewhat, but there's many of us that are walking around looking at this and seeing, a dream. And that dream is, creating a tiny village for some of our houseless community to help give them a place to land and then hopefully a place to launch from.
On Wednesday, they're inviting the community out at 9 a.m. to help clean up the old botany shop site at 710 Minnesota. Some rain on the way. Nick Kelly.
But so far, Dow, it's been quiet this evening. It's been quiet all day, as a matter of fact. So even though the cloud cover has been steadily building back in throughout the day, we actually had a quite interesting tale with temperatures. We had upper 60s for midnight highs. We dropped back into the upper 40s and lower 50s this morning and try to get back near 60 degrees throughout the course of the afternoon. Now let me take you to the storm tracker. The radar wants to depict some rain picking up, but that's moisture building up in the clouds. Nothing reaching the ground yet, but everything is coming together as advertised with our next warm front lifting in from the southwest. So it might be quiet right now, but you can see on the day planner, once we get after midnight, the rain chances, they're going to quickly pick up through the overnight. Some rain, thunderstorms, nothing severe, but heavy rain can't be ruled out, certainly for the morning drive. Well, we'll get this all out of here by tomorrow afternoon, and we'll still have a mild day with eventually mostly sunny skies and highs near 67. We'll see how much rain tomorrow's chances will bring and other systems in the forecast. We'll break it all down here in a bit now.
Catch you in a few. Columbus, Kansas man gets life in prison for 2 murders. A judge today sentenced 30-year-old Mark Hopkins II to life without the possibility of parole for 50 years. The victims were found dead in a rural area of Cherokee County in June of 2020. 27-year-old Blaze Swank of rural Scammon and 20-year-old Kylan Shook of Pittsburgh have both been shot. Last month, Hopkins pled guilty to 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder in that case. Authorities in McDonald County, Missouri have arrested a man accused of pointing a gun at people on Christmas Eve. The sheriff's office says Spencer Daniels of Pineville pointed the gun at 2 people inside a vehicle behind Boonslick Lodge on Highway 71. Authorities say Daniels then went into the lodge, pointed the gun at more people, threw the gun into a trash can, and ran into a McDonald's where he was arrested after a short chase. Daniels is charged with 3 counts of first-degree assault and 3 counts of armed criminal action, among other charges. Authorities in Missouri issue an arrest warrant for a doctor at a private Christian boarding school. Police say 57-year-old David Smock sexually abused students at Agape boarding school in Cedar County while he was a doctor there. Smock is charged with second-degree statutory sodomy, third-degree child molestation, and enticement or attempted enticement of a child. In September, the Cedar County prosecutor charged 5 other employees of the school with child sex crimes. Officials in Kansas City say 5 people were killed in the city during Christmas week, bringing the 2021 total to 156. That makes 2021 the city's 2nd deadliest year on record. Only last year was worse, when Kansas City had 182 homicides. This year topped the 155 killings that occurred in 2017. The entire Kansas City metropolitan area, including the Kansas City suburbs, seen 215 homicides in 2021. Mayor Quinton Lucas on Twitter says the city will never stop trying to reduce the number of killings, calling it Kansas City's greatest challenge. Coming up, the CDC announces new recommendations for shorter quarantine periods for some people with COVID-19. Plus, we look back at the year's top stories in the U.S., ranging from the fight against the pandemic to natural disasters and high-profile trials. State of Missouri is now offering a new option to test yourself for COVID-19 at home. You can now order a self-collection kit and ship it to a lab via FedEx. You order the kit on the state health department's website. The kit, which is absolutely free, should arrive in 2 days and is good for 6 months, they say. Once you collect the sample, you have 24 hours to ship it in a prepaid envelope included with the kit. The lab will then send you your results in an email. The CDC is out with new recommendations on shorter isolation periods for some people with COVID-19. New York and at least 4 other states are now reporting more daily cases than at any other point in the pandemic. Deborah Alfarone reports from Washington.
The CDC is shortening recommended isolation time for Americans with COVID-19 from 10 days to 5 for those not experiencing symptoms. It cited growing evidence people with the virus are most infectious 1 to 2 days before symptoms appear and 2 to 3 days after.
Namely, getting people back in half the time than they would have been out so that they can get back to the workplace doing things that are important to keep society running smoothly.
On Monday, President Biden met virtually with his COVID response team and many of the nation's governors.
We do know that with the rising cases, we still have tens of millions of unvaccinated people, and we're seeing hospitalizations rise.
With the Omicron variant spreading quickly, the number of new daily cases has risen above 200,000, nearing an all-time high.
And you're here for a COVID test today?
This drive-through testing site in La Crosse, Wisconsin, saw cars backed up down the street, an increasingly common scene.
We're just getting to the point that our staff can't handle it anymore. It's overwhelming at times.
And just days before the ball drops on New Year's Eve, people waiting for their test are crowding the sidewalks of New York's Times Square. Workers at all of the city's 184,000 businesses must now show proof of at least one vaccine dose. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News.
The CDC also says those who are exposed to COVID but boosted will no longer need to quarantine, and those who are unvaccinated should still quarantine for 5 full days. More than 2,000 flights were canceled globally today due to airlines being short-staffed. According to the website FlightWare, there were more than 700 cancellations early morning within, into, or out of the U.S., and more than 3,000 flights were delayed. More than 6,000 flights have been canceled worldwide since Christmas Eve as airline staff and crew call out sick. In 2021, the country watched new variants hamper efforts to fight the coronavirus pandemic. Top athletes stepped away from competition, and billionaires raced into space. Reporter Michael George looks back at the year that was.
More people in the U.S. died from COVID-19 in 2021 than 2020, driven in part by the highly contagious Delta variant.
If you're not vaccinated, I'll tell you flat out, you're a fool.
Vaccines became widely available, but hesitancy remained. By mid-December, about 20% of eligible Americans still hadn't gotten a first shot.
I want to give my condolences to the Floyd family.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was sentenced in June, months after a jury convicted him of the 2020 murder of George Floyd. During the trial, there was another police-involved killing of a black man in nearby Brooklyn Center, Minnesota.
Not guilty.
A Wisconsin jury found Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty for fatally shooting 2 men and wounding a third during a night of violent protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
I didn't do anything wrong. I defended myself.
2 weeks later, a jury in Georgia convicted 3 white men of murdering Ahmaud Arbery as he jogged through their neighborhood in 2020. In June, a condo building in Surfside, Florida partially collapsed, killing 98 people. And in November, 10 people died during a crowd stampede at Houston's Astroworld Music Festival. Later that month, a driver plowed his SUV through a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, killing 6 people. The nation once again reeled from mass shootings, including the deadly Atlanta area spa shootings that shed a light on hate crimes targeting Asian Americans, and a school shooting in Oxford, Michigan left 4 students dead. The alleged gunman and his parents are facing charges. From a crippling Arctic blast in Texas to massive wildfires out west to deadly tornadoes in the heartland, the U.S. faced more extreme weather. Hurricane Ida hit Louisiana as the most powerful storm since Katrina. Then its remnants brought flooding and destruction to the Northeast.
We've just been fighting all morning.
The disappearance of 22-year-old Gabby Petito and manhunt for her fiancé Brian Laundrie gripped the nation. Autopsies revealed she was strangled. He died by suicide. Bill Cosby returned home from prison after Pennsylvania's Supreme Court threw out his 2018 sexual assault conviction. And a federal jury convicted R&B superstar R. Kelly of sex trafficking and racketeering after facing accusations for decades. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo resigned in August following a sexual harassment investigation. Tennis star Naomi Osaka and gymnast Simone Biles raised awareness about mental health issues in the sports world. And 2021 was out of this world for billionaires Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson as they raced into space. Along for the ride, Star Trek icon William Shatner.
It's extraordinary,
Who boldly went where no 90-year-old has ever gone before. Michael George, CBS News.
Tomorrow at 5 p.m., our year in review turns to the business world. The pandemic kept its grip on financial matters as the Delta variant slammed the brakes on the return to offices. Small investors staged a rebellion over GameStop. Millions of Americans quit their jobs and the tech titans took on a president. We hope you'll join us for the business year in review tomorrow on KOAM News at 5. Later, Disky the Wonder Dog makes a stop at the Joplin Y and teaches the kids there some important lessons.
But not only am I tracking, first and foremost, rain chances overnight, but a couple more storm systems for the rest of the week. Forecast up next. I've been keeping an eye on observations in front of me on the computer screens, but I have not seen any rain make it down to the ground yet. But those rain chances, they will ramp up as soon as we head into the overnight. For the time being, though, the live shot from Indigo Sky outside of Seneca, Missouri tells the tale about how the entire area is looking right now. Plenty of cloud cover up top, but we have not seen anything coming out of the clouds ever since they started building back in. After we actually had some partly sunny skies this afternoon, to push afternoon temperatures at least into the upper 50s and a few spots back near 60. But let me show you the radar. Even though this looks like a bit of rain making its way down to the ground, it isn't yet. In fact, all this is rain, the radar picking up, it's actually way up in the clouds. So the clouds are building up more moisture as our next storm system rolls in. But we are going to see the rain chances again really take off as soon as we get into the overnight, and especially for the Tuesday morning commute. But we're dry right now, 7th the range line. We're at 50 in Joplin, east breeze at 13 with the humidity. It is making the steady climb upward at 44% right now. In terms of temperatures across the rest of the region, maybe a few spots in the lower 40s around Iola and Yates Center, but the vast majority of us are either in the upper 40s to near 50. And these numbers are pretty much going to hold steady as we go throughout the course of the night as the cloud cover remains in place and more moisture gets pulled in ahead of our next storm system. Let me actually show you it at the surface. The cold front that came through the other day, it's to the east of us now, but the backside of it now, this warm front in particular, that's been developing since the start of this evening. It's ready to work in from the southwest. And in the upper levels, we found some energy from a couple upper lows off to our west. That energy is running along the jet, headed our way, and that is certainly going to aid in the rain chances that will take off. But at least not for a few more hours. You can see how we're relatively quiet up until about the midnight hour, and you can see all the cloud cover keeping us mainly in the upper 40s to near 50. Let's take you to 3 a.m. though. The rain, the future track really wants that rain to get going on top of the region as we go through the overnight, and certainly by the time we get the morning drive underway. But with this rain though, we can't rule out some heavy rain and even some thunderstorms, but we're not really expecting anything too strong or severe. So we're not worried about that, but this is all rain that Michael Haslip will be tracking for you as we get our 5 o'clock morning news underway here on KOAM. Fortunately, all this rain, it's not an all-day affair. It's out of here once we get the afternoon underway, and I think with even some returning sun, we'll still go from 49 in the morning, 63 by noon, and with the southwest wind before that next cold front rolls in, we'll get highs back near 67 degrees for the afternoon. Now, we will turn a bit chilly as we go into Wednesday morning, but the backside of the system wants to bring us some scattered showers for Wednesday morning before we clear things out and top out in the 50s for Wednesday afternoon. Thankfully, we're quiet for Thursday and for New Year's Eve on your Friday. Sticking with Doug's pattern, though, this is the next big system that we'll keep a very close eye on. Still several days out, still trying to sort out how exactly this is going to track, but with the way we're seeing things here, what starts as rain and thunderstorm chances for New Year's Day with early morning highs around 57. With all that cold air ready to slam in right behind it, I would not be surprised if that system ends as snow chances Saturday night into Sunday morning. But as far as temperatures go, we're at 67 tomorrow, 50s for Wednesday and Thursday, 63 for Friday. But behind the Saturday system, Dow will drop to 18 Sunday morning and a high of 31.
I like it better on this side of the system than behind that system. That's cold.
I know, it's like, well, we better enjoy these mild temperatures. So why we're not used to seeing while it's here.
I guess so. Here comes the new year. Kids at the Joplin YMCA got a real treat today. Disky the Wonder Dog. Yeah, Disky and her handler, Russ Rosenkrantz, have been touring the area, performing Frisbee tricks and wowing crowds for years. They've even auditioned for America's Got Talent. Today, Disky performed at the Joplin YMCA and taught kids her 7 habits of highly effective kids.
And I want them to take to the fact that, again, anything's possible. Set your goals and, sharpen your skills and you'll be able to make things happen. And we just hope to change lives literally one smile at a time today.
Ross and Disky hope to one day perform at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Good luck. Still ahead, the Carthage girls hit the floor for the first round of the Pink and White tournament in Springfield, and a local fighter gets the chance to fight in front of UFC President Dana White. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Today is the opening day of the Pink and White basketball tournament in Springfield. Now, the Carthage girls hit the floor this evening against Ozark in their first game of the tournament. Carthage gets a nice win, 56-49 over Ozark. Kiana Yates scores a game-high 25 points, including 5 threes. Sophie Shannon and Maggie Boyd each add 10 points for Carthage. Next up for the Tigers, they'll face Lebanon in round 2 tomorrow morning at 11. The Kansas Jayhawks have had their game against Harvard on Wednesday canceled due to COVID-19 issues inside the Harvard program. They have found another game, though, agreeing to host Nevada in a replacement contest. In the latest AP national rankings released earlier today, KU has moved up a spot to number 6 with a 9-1 overall record. Big 12 rival Baylor remains undefeated and remains at number 1 this week. The 3 other conference teams are in the top 25. Iowa State at number 8, Texas at 17, and Texas Tech at number 25. Joplin's TJ Britton will return to the cage in February, fighting on the FAC 12 card in Kansas City. That's his first MMA fight since March, after taking a few pro boxing bouts, and it'll be in front of UFC President Dana White. Now, White will be there for Britton's fight as part of his TV show Dana White Looking for a Fight. Britton's fight against Isaac Dolgarian will be a featherweight title bout and will be the co-main event. Britton is 7-2 in his pro MMA career, while Dolgarian is undefeated, sitting at 4-0.
He is a stud. I mean, he'll be the best fight I ever fought by far. He's a crazy athlete, very engaged young man. High goal set, and everything. I believe everything he's probably said he's achieved, and so we both have the same goals. So we'll see what happens that night. Man, I'm just working hard, man. I'm not cutting any corners. I'll be ready. I'll be the best TJ Britton that I can be, and then we'll go out and we'll have some fun, man. We'll see what happens.
You can check out our full story with Britton on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. You can also find ticket information for the fight in that story. The Kansas City Chiefs are once again AFC West champions. The Chiefs blew out the Steelers on Sunday to get to 11-4 this season and earn their 6th consecutive division title. A lot of guys stepped up on Sunday. The defense was obviously great, but on the offensive side, with Travis Kelce out, McCole Hardman caught a touchdown, and former Kansas State Wildcat Byron Pringle finished with 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes threw for 258 and 3 scores and has now won a division title every season he's been the starter.
If you look at the AFC West, I mean, every team's still battling for a playoff spot. I mean, it's a tough division that you have to go in with the mindset of we have to win the AFC West divisional game to get where we want to be at. And so to be able to win the AFC West, kind of get that first goal. I mean, obviously, like you said, we have more goals that we want to go after, but this was the first one. And to take this step, we got to build that momentum into the playoffs and try to make a run at it.
And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local World War II veteran. Seaman First Class Thomas White served in the South Pacific with the U.S. Navy. His hometown, Veneta, Oklahoma. And we are proud to salute Seaman First Class Thomas White, a four-state hero. Scientists have discovered dozens of rogue planets floating in the Milky Way. The astronomers spotted the Jupiter-sized planets using sensitive cameras on a number of large telescopes all around the world. Planets are considered rogue because they don't have a nearby star or sun to illuminate them, but are still hot enough to glow. Researchers say there are at least 70 of them free-floating 420 light years away from Earth, but there could be as many as 170. Scientists have not said if they think the planets could one day be habitable, but they don't have a sun, and they're pretty far away, so, it seems unlikely to me. I don't know. Okay, the weather, rain coming, huh?
Yeah, we're not going to start with sun in the morning with all the clouds and the rain chances on the way, but the rain's out here by tomorrow afternoon. And despite all that, we're still going to be mild tomorrow with highs near 67.
Final sports note.
Big tournament starting tomorrow. The Neosho Holiday Classic begins tomorrow at Neosho High School. 2 boys brackets, 1 girls bracket, 24 teams total.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget our morning show starts at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.